So tell me a little bit about
So a little bit of my friend Joe. So Joe teaches 5th grade writing, and he has a unit. He's on a unit right now. I don't have his actual plan, so I'm hoping we'll pull it up tonight. I haven't seen it, but I know he has one. So we've talked through it quite a few times for, right now it's informative writing.
Okay.
And so what his kids have been doing is so Joe and I have had conversations around 2 things. One, it's like, we just want kids to be really good writers.
Mm-hmm.
So his vision is all about them being authors, and he's becoming vision driven in the sense where he's identified that being an author or being able to write is good for your long-term life, how you express yourself and are able to convey things to people.
Okay.
And so he's vision driven in his head, but it's not coming to play in his classroom.
Okay. So he has like this idea of what he wants his kids to be able to accomplish. He hasn't really fully fleshed out like
we don't have
what it's gonna take to get there, perhaps.
So we were at the revisiting the big goal session.
Has he written a vision for a writing class? Mm-hmm. And this is the new class where we just got level 2.
He's only been with this class for about a month.
Okay.
And at the revisiting the big goal session, what he started to do was, and I don't have it with me. I actually wish I brought it today, but it's not his touch point yet. But I'm going to ask him today how he is against that. His touch point's Thanksgiving, next Friday actually. He started backwards planning. He kind of just spent some time really reflecting on what that meant for his kids and like 1 or 2 strategies he's been trying in his classroom. So I'm going to ask him tonight kind of where he is against that. But what I mean is not happening in his classroom, and he has 3 classes. Mm-hmm. I've seen one of them a lot more than the other ones. But today what they did is they literally did ELA, mm-hmm. meaning they're working with plurals. So like kids had dry erase boards and with partners, and on the board, on the Promethean board, it was like LeBron James either dunks or dunk the basketball, and then they had to decide is it dunk based on plural, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so kids were able to talk about it with each other, come up with their thing. But there's a lot of things happening during that. Kids were playing, kids were talking, mm-hmm. and there was redirecting of behavior. Mm-hmm. And he connected it to like, I know you want to do this, and you want to do well on the quiz, but there was no connection to like the vision, except for I noticed in our writing, he made one comment around like, I noticed in our writing we tend to use was instead of were, mm-hmm. and so they had a conversation about that and why like were is grammatically correct, even though, and it's hard because we're used to saying was, mm-hmm. We was on the bus.
Yeah.
And so they had this whole conversation with them about like the reason why were has been really hard for us in our writing is because in our speech we're used to saying was because that's what we're used to saying with our friends and with our family, and so we're going to work really hard in our writing to have were because that's the way it's supposed to be grammatically. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if kids were it was loud in the classroom. It was just the traits, the vision of like what work should look like, and just wasn't happening. And then what kids were doing, so they're in the middle of this research project where they're in the library and kids have these graphic organizers and they each picked a topic. So I worked with a girl who, because I have 2 core members there, whenever she sees me, for some reason I always run into this girl in the hallway, and so I thought today I'd work with her because she always comes up to talk to me. So I worked with this one girl who was learning about deserts, and that was her nonfiction topic. And then what they were doing is they had done a whole thing on text features mm-hmm. already, so they took a book. They had to take a book, a couple of sources, and they had to paraphrase what page from the page, paraphrase what they learned. But they started off doing what I already know about this topic, what I don't already know, or what I want to know, and then they're going to use that to create an essay. And so when I was there at the library today, there were kids off task, kids not having books, kids not really understanding how to paraphrase and what kind of information to pull out, even though he showed them an example and a not example. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's enough modeling or the way, again, like how he's got coaching and correcting them during the guided practice piece. Mm-hmm. Because when they were in the library working on this, kids were like all over. Some kids were looking at books, some kids were throwing things, some kids were like, how little boys, mm-hmm. Like all over the library.
We had a meeting earlier.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. So, like, I know it's not what Joe wants for his kids. I think, like, the things that the kids who are, like, the natural on-task children who, no matter who their teacher is going to follow directions, you know what I'm talking about, that child is invested. Because like the strategies Joe's using are set up for something more rigorous than what the kids are actually producing.
So let me pause you there, because
Yeah.
I feel like you've thrown out a whole bunch of different things, and I want us to bucket them and figure out what this means for Joe. Because I know I want to make sure you have it in your head, even though like you know what specific thing you're doing tonight with them. I want to make sure you have in your head, like I drew my little OCS.
I know, in your hand.
That's right.
So I can put it in my hand.
This is the hand in the head, yeah. You have in your head, like, here is the plan I want to go through tonight, but I'll make sure you can articulate it for both him and maybe articulate even for me, so I can understand what's in your head.
I don't know what's in my head. So.
Okay, well maybe this will help you figure out what's in your head. I don't know. So a couple of things that you pulled out about where Joe's classroom is right now. First of all, do you think that if you had to ask yourself, is he a person who is on a path towards a meaningful destination with his students? Yes or no? What would you say?
I think he is. I think his students aren't. So I think based on his kind of personality and what he wants for his kids and what he's thinking and what he's doing, I think are in a direction for the right path, but his students aren't on the path with him right now at all.
So he has a vision that can get them somewhere meaningful, but he's not using his vision as the tool to get them there.
Yeah.
And so some of the pieces of evidence that you were telling me earlier, like some of the kids are invested but others aren't. You were telling me that, oh man, what's my handwriting say? How are kids, like, what do we think about even the other elements that we've been looking for? So like this rigor piece and like mastery and stuff like that. So, what does that tell us about where he is on the path?
So we don't know mastery right now because we're using 6+1 and these scores are from after his first unit, but that was only a week after being their teacher, so we're actually counting it as the diagnostic. And so what we're doing tonight is actually continuing putting this into a tracker to kind of get an average of where his kids are, and then beginning to set a goal of like where his kids need to be, and then kind of figuring examples of what does that look like. That's kind of what the 45 minutes together is really going to be, and the next steps are going to be where they're in the middle of doing a nonfiction project where they're writing an essay before Thanksgiving break, where we're then going to come back and he's going to track it and we're going to see if there's been growth.
Based on the same 6+1 writing rubric?
It's the same rubric, except the only thing that changes is because it's nonfiction, it's informative writing, like there's might be other pieces, and when he does the conventions for the ELA skill, he really also focuses on the skill he's taught to see if it's in the writing, to hold him accountable.
So let me ask you a question, because it seems like you feel like his entry point right now is like, I really need to get him tracking something so that he's starting to understand his students' progress, and so that he can see where they are on the path towards a meaningful destination. And why is that the right entry point?
So I think he's someone who has like a plan, like a unit plan right now, and I don't think I could change the rigor of it right now, because I really think when Kip comes in a couple weeks, he's going to have a writing session, and I kind of want to leave the writing with rigor to, like, I know that session's coming, I'm going to tell him about it tonight, so he knows, like, I'm not neglecting, like the strategies for teaching and what kids should be doing, but I think it would be kind of inefficient, or whatever the word is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a smart
actually
move.
Spend time on, like, writing. I think what I would like to see, I think part of it is, and I know it's probably here, but I think part of it is, like, we just need to know where the kids are. Like, I could have a meaningful conversation with you today about, like, the behavior I saw and maybe why that's contributing to, like, performance. But you actually don't have your finger on where your kids actually are against where they need to be. And I think he needs to see that this is where my kids are, and I actually need to have he's at a school where 80% of the kids, or 70, failed the CRCT writing last year. And so he's also trying to infuse prompt writing. And so I think it's like, there's just a lot that's happening, but it's not all connected to the vision of being a writer, but like we can't start connecting pieces. I don't want to come in vision, because we've tried that. we started that and it's not seeing it. So I'm gonna try to go bottom up now of like.
I think I bought into your rationale that starting with progress, getting him progress known, is the first right move for him because that'll help him to use as a lever when he goes to these writing workshops.